Welcome back to the channel, and today we'll be reviewing the brand new Tacray Tiran. This is a new premium offering from Tacray, and I gotta say, I'm pretty impressed. Before the Tyran, I bought the tie frame lock from Tacray, VG10 steel, titanium, nice slicey, versatile blade there. Just definitely out there blade shape, something they're pretty much known for. And then the budget end, the Tacray Torcus. I absolutely love this sub $30 knife. It's incredibly lightweight. It's got super thin blade stock, full flat grind, so it slices like a demon here. D2 steel, I'm fine with it. It's like a $28 knife, I think. Nice smooth action. It's got the carbon fiber G10 laminate. Now you can get it in just plain G10 as well. Only thing they missed on this one is it wasn't a reversible deep carry clip. I don't know if the newer versions have one or not. Great action. I find it comfortable enough. And this one's seen a good bit of use. Well, the Tyran definitely has some of the similar lines up those last two. And this is a nice, slim, full-size EDC knife. It's coming in at 7.85 inches long with a 3.38 inch. They're calling it a reverse tanto blade with a Japanese tanto tip. And hopefully you can see that line right there. This is a laminated ZDP 189 blade. A laminated blade just allows them to be able to make a knife with a good steel for a lot less because they're using a very thin piece of it, sandwiched in between a softer, usually more corrosion resistant steel, which is above the line, and the ZDP is the core in the middle. And this one also has a black DLC coating on it, which is, I think, the strongest coating out there. It's a diamond-like carbon, very, very hard to scratch. And the ZDP is hardened from 64 to 66 HRC. That's very exciting. There's no jimping up top. I didn't really find the need for it. You have a top swedge for some flare. And the way this blade shape's set up, it should be very versatile because you have a straight edge here, and you can even use that straight edge for in-hand cuts. Then when you go to do cuts on a flat cutting surface, say some very detailed oriented stuff, you have that very precise tip there. That's gonna be good at piercing and for doing those intricate cuts. And then if you're slicing onto a flat cutting surface, you have this flat portion right here, and you're canted up like this, so you can do a lot. Should be able to do just about anything. Dual thumb studs stay out of the cutting path, and one minor gripe I have, I do wish they would have given us a better sharpening choil because it's already sitting on that thicker plunge grind. So I would think after the first sharpening, it's going to start to widen right here. You know, not the end of the world, and it's not a deal breaker because I can fix it myself. Let's see, can you fix it? Yes. The plunger sits pretty far down in there, so you should have a good bit of sharpening life. They definitely designed this one to be a very slicey blade. So besides the thin scales, you also have thin blade stock at 0.087. That's super thin. So it should slice really well, especially since this flat grind comes down very thin to around 12 thousandths behind the edge. So as long as it came sharp, it should be a fantastic slicer. Why don't we find out? This knife came incredibly sharp, especially the longer straight edge portion. That was hair whittling sharp out of box. The smaller straight edge portion came sharp, just not quite hair whittling. It was shaving hair pretty reliably. But whenever I was doing this cardboard cutting, you know, with the sharpness and the geometry, it glided through this cardboard just so effortless. It was definitely nice. I don't have any choil area to get hung up in. I personally choke up in the front part of the scales just so I can get right up to that edge, so I'm utilizing the whole thing. Now we're testing the ergos and seeing how that edge wants to bite, and as you can see, it wanted to bite fast and deep. I had to use very light pressure so I didn't, you know, go into it real deep and not be able to do anything. And it was comfortable as it could be for as thin as the scales are. No crazy hot spots or anything, but you know, doing this for prolonged periods of time is going to fatigue your wrist and forearms rather quickly, but you can do it, you know, and I was able to get a good bit of force into the wood. Then we get to the 1/2 inch chisel rope, And this is where that versatility kicks in. Because of that straight edge secondary portion right there, you can use it for push cuts, you can use it for slicing motion cuts, pull through cuts, and that's just showing you that it was sharp up there and hair shaving sharp, just like I said, not as sharp as the longer straight edge portion, but once again, that geometry is playing a part here too, and it was rather easy to do this. Not always the funnest test for me to do, but whenever they perform like this, I don't mind it whatsoever. The edge never once felt like it was slowing down on me. I didn't do a crazy amount. I think I did a little over 100 cuts, and just to make sure nothing crazy happened. And that's all I'm really doing. I'm not testing for edge retention or anything. We got Cedric Canada that does a great job of that already, and some other channels too. So yeah, so far so good. And another versatile point there is making those detailed cuts. It was going through the leather so smoothly that I had to keep doing it. It's a little scalpel tip up there. You're going to get some fine intricate cuts if you want. And you pierce through a box or something, you easily better do that. I didn't notice a whole lot of drag from the DLC. Of course, you'll notice a little bit more than rather than satin finish or something, but nothing that was concerning at all. And all the way to the very end, that edge felt crisp. We'll test it once we get done, hopefully. And excellent job. I don't know about y'all. I'm curious to see how the edge is after all that cutting. Now, this is the factory edge. I'm sure after I put my own edge on, it's going to be even better. But let's see. I used to love ZDP. I have an Endurance ZDP. Yeah, that's what I figured. Now, it's not as sharp as it was when I got it, no doubt. But, I mean, look at that. No hiccups. I bet you I can strap this back and make it hair shaving sharp again. Now let's take a look at the deployment on this one. So you have dual thumb studs, and they're fairly comfortable. No issues there. The detent is being created by this button lock. Very, very snappy action. Once you release that button, this is a fall shut knife riding on cage ceramic bearings. So it's a nice fall shut and nice and snappy. You can also use that button if you want to deploy it that way. You can reverse flick, you can slow roll, you could pinch drop it, and you can also do it on the left side just as easy. You have a titanium frame with some milling here that offers some traction. You got a milled line in the middle, chamfers going all the way around. There's no sharp areas where you don't want them to be. I do wish they would have put a reset spot for that button lock. You have some texture on it, and your pivot does sit a little proud of the scales, but it has been chamfered all the way around on both sides. Torx T8 for your pivot. Unfortunately, your one body screw is a Torx T6. I would have much preferred it to be a T8. They're a lot less likely to strip out, and you wouldn't have to swap drivers. But look how thin this is. Let's bring out a Spyderco PM2. You can almost fit this in the middle of those scales. Yeah, it's about an entire scale thicker than the Tyran. So as far as ergos go, it's comfortable for how thin it is. You know, as long as you're just using this for daily tasks, breaking down boxes, you know, cutting something real quick, doing some tip work there, and not using it as a heavy duty knife, then I think you'll be great. And ZDP isn't really meant for heavy duty use anyway. When I say heavy, I mean hard use to where you're banging on it or anything, or, you know, exerting as much force as you possibly can into stuff. You can do it, but it's not going to be as comfortable as something that fills out the hand a little bit nicer, a little bit thicker. This one is going to carry a lot better. And I don't mind it, especially for how well that blade performed. I have a lanyard hole for all the lanyard people out there. A reversible milled tie pocket clip with Tacray written on it. I could have done without that, but not a deal breaker. And this small little standoff back spacer, whatever you want to call it, that is basically housing the clip screw, and this screw must have a standoff in the middle of it. Your scales don't have any internal pocketing, but because of how thin everything is, it's still very lightweight for its size at 3.05 ounces, well under an ounce an inch per blade. That some people care about, not I. Pretty much flow-through construction. So if you need to get in there with a Q-tip, blow it out with compressed air, it'd be rather easy. Your pocket clip functions well. It's got good spring to it. Now it is sitting on top of that texture, which isn't terrible. Let's listen. It's not terrible. You can kind of hear nothing bad, and it disappears in the pocket. Grab the top of that to get it out. But eventually that may become a pocket shredder over time. So this is a button lock. This, when I say I have absolutely no movement in any direction whatsoever, very tight lockup. And that's not always common with a button lock. Sometimes you'll get some up and down slop from the geometry on the plunger. And somebody said in the comments, somebody's Tyran had button lock failure. Check that in just a second on mine. My particular one has just an ever so slight bit of stick, which is something I love to hear. It's not terrible, but it gives me that security that this one's locked up securely. Now that's not always the case. It could be poor lock geometry that's causing that, or just a lot of lube on the lock. See if I can show you all this. It's thin, it's hard to hold. So yeah, it's the third time I've done mine, and I have not had a failure yet. But just like any button lock, if I crank on it super hard, that vibration should cause it to unlock. Especially something this thin. But that's the third time I've checked mine, and so far so good. You know, I can't speak for every knife. Obviously somebody's failed on them. And if mine ever does, I will definitely let y'all know. Well, I just noticed, you know, I was wondering why the lockup was so tight, especially side to side, up and down, is because these thumb studs are acting as external stops. You can see that little divot they have on both sides that they actually put there, hopefully, where the thumb studs are hitting. And in the closed position, you can see they're hitting right here. They probably should have put that little divot on the scales too, but that's not something that bothers me. This is an affordable knife for everything you're getting here, at least in my opinion. Now for some quick size comparison, here it is next to the Ontario Wrap 1 and 2. It's very similar in length to the Benchmade 940 and the Concept Tarkin. And it's just a hair shorter than the Kershaw Iridium, and it's very similar in length to the QSP Large Penguin. And lastly, here it is next to the Spyderco PM2 and Power 3. And since no knife's perfect, what are my nitpicks and complaints? I would have loved to see a bigger sharpening tool so I had more sharpening life so I didn't have to do it myself. I'd also like to see a T8 body screw instead of T6. And I would have liked to see this lamination line go to about right here. Just because I don't know what happens whenever you get to the line, because you will have this softer steel on top and the harder core will be on the bottom. So I don't know. I haven't ever sharpened any of my laminated blades that far. But all that said, this knife right here comes in at 159 bucks. Do I think it's worth it? Absolutely. So far, my button lock has been solid. This blade is versatile, very slicey. It carries very well. It's got great action. I like the unique look of it. I know some people won't. That's fine. We don't all have to like the same things. So that's going to do it for today's video. If you're interested in picking up your own Tacray Tiran, I will have it linked down below in the description. It will be an affiliate link, so if you want to help support what I do in this channel, you can use my links. If not, no sweat at all. Just keep coming back. If you have any questions in particular about the Tyran, feel free to ask me down below, and I'll do my best to get back with you. I hope every single one of y'all is having a fantastic day today. And remember, keep these blades sharp. Smile more. Pew!